I've opened my Generations program. Now you'll notice that some of my menu bars are not where yours are, such as my quick toolbar. Uh, that reason being, when I'm doing a lesson, I don't have as much screen space as I would normally like, so I have to actually place these in the best strategic places so that you can at least see what I'm doing. Okay, now first of all, I'm going to go up to my View menu, Toolbars, and select which bars that I want visible. Now I've turned off my zoom bar because it takes up a bit of room, and I've also turned off the help bar from the bottom. Again, that takes up room. But I'm going to turn on my building block bar by just clicking on it, and you'll see now along the bottom here I have my building blocks, and I have all the various folders that contain the building blocks that came within the program. Plus I have an A1 folder which contains the building blocks that I have built myself. You have a couple of options on how to use those building blocks. You can actually drag and drop them onto your work area. So I'm just going to select the butterfly and just whiz it onto my work area. And I'm actually going to grab my other butterfly and put it on my work area. And I'm going to select both of them by holding down my control key. I'm going to line them up at the bottom so they're both nicely lined along here, and I'm just going to merge them. Now I'm going to find another building block, and I'm just going to use my Candlewick building block. Now that's just a fraction longer than that I want, so I can just resize it by hitting my resize button. Instead of 80, I'm just going to make it 75. Maintain aspect ratio and click OK. I'll just generate. Okay, now I can move that up a fraction. Now I've very quickly just built a block or a design putting the building blocks together. You'll notice on the left hand side on my stitch sequence window, which I have open, all the parts of those blocks are there. But if I actually save that now, I will have color changes. One of the great things with this 1.4 is you can actually now move these up and around to change your stitch out color wise to cut down on jumps. So if I select that second area that is the same color as the first area, it highlights those, and I can just drag that up the order so that those wings are going to be stitching out in the order that I want. If I grab that plus the bottom one, which is my candle wicking, by holding down my control key, I'll just move those up. And now I have them stitching out in an order that I would prefer. As you can see, it's going through by just clicking down my sequence window. It's highlighting those areas. I do have jump stitches. That's not a problem. At least my color changes won't be as much. If I only select a part of a color, such as that first pink color, a cross appears. That lets me know I haven't selected all the pink areas. If I click on it, just right click to disconnect and select those, just by holding down my control key and generating, it now shows me the view without those actual jump stitches. So that would be the design that I've just created. I can select all those by just dragging and grouping them together, and I could move them down to form a design. I could add other things in there if I want to. But it's a really neat feature with the building blocks. Now if I like that building block and think that I might use that building block again, I can actually select it, go to accessories, and save that as another building block. So it really is a neat feature. Okay, now another thing that you can do is, instead of dragging those onto your work area, and I'm just going to do a shift delete to get rid of those, I could double click on the butterfly. Now I use a Wacom graphite pen. And when I double click, if I move my pen off my actual tablet, then my butterfly literally takes wing, as you will see. See what I mean? As soon as I move my butterfly, it flies, literally. But it stays attached to my cursor, which just means that I have to find my center point of where my design is. So if I move that on to 0 and go across on this side and find my 0, then I can actually find my embroidery ring. Now you won't have this problem if you have a mouse. Now you'll see that my cursor is attached to the left hand side of the butterfly. So if I just left click, I can place the butterfly and anchor it on the left hand side. That then gives me the option to slide my mouse across and left click again to position the right hand part of the butterfly. It very kindly now gives me another butterfly for me to place. If I right click, I have actually flipped the butterfly. If I right click again, it is in the same position as it was before. Okay, so I can just now left click and place it where I want to. If I wanted to actually go around a bend, I can left click and then I can actually drag the butterfly and place it around the corner. Escape gets rid of it. So as you can see, I've actually maneuvered my butterflies where I want them very quickly and very easily, but they are still disconnected if I didn't quite place that where I wanted to. Again, you can select those two pale pink parts, hold down your control key and just move it so that it moves up the line. Again, I'm going to move this one up the line. Now I only have 3 color changes. I will just select those and generate. And now I've actually got 3 butterflies. One of them's falling off the end, but it gives you an idea of what can be done with those butterflies. Now, until I group those, they are separate entities. If I wanted to add joining lines or anything else, then it's quite easy to do that. You could actually just have a connecting line if you want. I'm just right clicking my mouse, entering, escaping, and I've actually got a connection line if I want to join those up. That's a bit short, so I'll just drag it and generate. I can move him up the line again. I can move him up the line by right clicking, say move to top if I want to. I can actually drag it down the line into the position I want it myself on the bar here, or I can use this and move it to where I want it. It gives you a lot more options for maneuvering around your design. Once I have it where I want it, if I wanted to change the color of that, then I can do that by just selecting it and grabbing a color off my bars down the bottom. Very quick, very easy. Again, you could save that if you want to into your building blocks and keep it for future use. Okay, that's just a quick rundown on what you can do with your building blocks.